D4vd, the boy who once sang about love, heartbreak, and homicide in his sister's closet, is now singing a very different tune, Goodbye Forever. But wait, how did the internet's moody indie prince go from Spotify's sweetheart to Public Enemy #1? Was it the Tesla trunk, the lyrics that sounded a little too real, or maybe the fact that his own fans are now calling him the SoundCloud Zodiac Killer? Let's not sugarcoat it, this isn't just a cancellation. This is a cultural execution. Imagine being 20 years old, 33 million monthly listeners, collabs line up with the biggest brands, and then boom overnight. You're reduced to a cautionary tale that parents use to scare their kids off TikTok. And here's the real kicker, the same lyrics that made him famous, in the back of my mind. You died and I didn't even cry, are now trending on Twitter X with captions like, guess he wasn't lying, coincidence, or confession hiding in plain sight. So tonight, we're pulling back the curtain. We're not just talking canceled shows, we're talking punishment, industry exile, public ridicule, and maybe something much darker. Welcome to the downfall of D4vd. Goodbye playlist. Goodbye sponsors. Goodbye forever. Alright, let's set the scene. Who exactly is at the center of this circus? None other than David Anthony Burke, but you know him as D4vd, the Gen Z heartthrob who turned sad boy bedroom anthems into global chart domination. The guy literally went from recording on an iPhone in his sister's closet to selling out shows in Paris, London, Tokyo, a modern rags to riches story. But here's the thing about meteoric rises, gravity always has a way of pulling you back down. And in David's case, it didn't just pull, it dragged him through mud, blood, and Spotify playlists that now feel like crime scene evidence. Let's not pretend we didn't see the red flags. His breakout hit, Romantic Homicide, was basically a murder ballad disguised as a lo-fi breakup song. People blasted it at prom like it was Ed Sheeran, while ignoring lyrics that sounded ripped from a serial killer's diary. In the back of my mind, I killed you. Cute, adorable, totally normal thing to put on TikTok thirst edits, right? But fast forward to 2025, and suddenly those words don't feel like poetry, they feel like prophecy. When Celeste Rivas's remains were pulled out of a Tesla trunk registered to him, fans went from "oh my god, he's so deep" to "bro, he's literally giving us a confession with auto-tune." And if you think this was his first brush with controversy, think again. Oh no. David's career has been a slow-motion car crash from the start minus the slow motion. Remember the leaked track Celeste back in late 2023? Yeah, the one where he sings about being obsessed with a girl named Celeste, complete with tattoos and cigarette-scented clothes. At the time, people thought, wow, so vulnerable, so artistic. Now, it reads like Exhibit A in the trial. Netflix is already planning to adapt into a 10-minute video docuseries narrated by Morgan Freeman. And then there's the mother's testimony. Celeste's mom told reporters her daughter had a boyfriend named David, complete with matching tattoos. Coincidence? Or cosmic justice handing us a clue on a silver platter? Fans on Reddit don't think so. One top-voted comment put it bluntly, "We ignored the signs because we like the beat." Ouch. The more you dig, the more this scandal looks less like bad luck and more like a pattern and artist obsessed with death, control, and emotional numbness, who just so happened to find himself at the center of one of Los Angeles' most grisly discoveries. And here's the cruel irony. This is the same guy who once bragged about writing songs for Fortnite montages. He went from victory royale to felony homicide in record time. But this is just the beginning. Because if the songs and tattoos were enough to make fans squirm, what comes next will make you question everything about how this story was hidden in plain sight all along. So let's dive into the dirty details, the so-called evidence that's been dripping out like a Netflix teaser campaign. You think this is just about one car and one tragedy? Oh no, my friend. This is where the scandal turns into a full-blown crime novel, with too many plot twists to count. First off, the Tesla. When cops impounded that Model 3, it wasn't just a car, it was Pandora's box on wheels. Anonymous sources claim investigators found wiped hard drives, burner phones, and even a scribbled lyric sheet inside the glove compartment with phrases like "she's mine forever" and "silence is eternal." Creepy? Absolutely. But here's the kicker, fans swear those exact lines match an unreleased demo he teased during a live stream last year. Art imitating life, or life imitating art? You tell me. Then came the so-called financial leaks. One insider from his management team allegedly spilled that David had been burning through cash at an alarming rate. Lavish dinners at Beverly Hills steakhouses, private studio rentals in Dubai, and wait for it, A $50,000 mystery payment logged under consulting fees. Consulting who? Exactly. The Zodiac Killer's accountant. Fans on TikTok have already turned it into a conspiracy series, with titles like D4vd's Blood Money Explained. And let's not forget the anonymous testimonies that seem to surface every hour. One former tour manager claimed David once joked backstage, "If they knew what was in my trunk, I'd never sell another ticket." Could be a metaphor, could be a punchline, or could be a dark, twisted reality he couldn't resist bragging about. You decide. Meanwhile, the public reaction has been an absolute circus. On Twitter X, the hashtag Justice for Celeste is trending right alongside hashtag D4vd Cancel Party. Half the fandom is crying betrayal. He saved me with his music. How could he? While the other half is already drafting true crime podcast pitches. One viral TikTok comment summed it up perfectly. We wanted Sad Boy, not Psycho Boy. And if you think the industry is standing by him, think again. Brands have pulled the plug faster than you can say Spotify Wrapped. Nike dropped him, claiming misalignment with values. Apple Music quietly pulled his curated playlist, like he never even existed. Even Fortnite, his odd gateway to fame, scrubbed his songs from highlight reels. That's right, when even Fortnite divorces you, you know you've been officially yeeted out of Gen Z culture. But the most chilling in this video? The fan theories. Some insist this is all a massive smear campaign, that David was framed by jealous execs. Others swear his entire discography is one long breadcrumb trail to the truth. The wildest theory yet? That romantic homicide wasn't written in 2022 at all. It was written after Celeste disappeared in 2024, and the release dates were retroactively covered up by his label. Absurd, maybe, viral, definitely. And as the frenzy builds, one question keeps echoing: is this the end of a career, or the opening act of a criminal trial? Because if you thought lyrics and tattoos were damning, wait until you hear what the so-called punishment really looks like. And here we are to this video everyone's been waiting for, the punishment. Because in today's world, you don't need a courtroom or a jury. All you need is Wi-Fi, a trending hashtag, and a mob with smartphones sharper than guillotines. Forget the justice system. David has been sentenced by the court of public opinion, and the verdict is brutal. Goodbye forever. Let's start with the career collapse. Tours canceled. Stadiums that were once selling out in minutes now look like abandoned malls. Promoters don't want to touch him with a 10-foot pole dipped in bleach. His European dates gone. His Asian tour acts before posters even finished printing. Insiders say he owes millions in refunds, and guess what? Insurance companies aren't paying out, because alleged dismemberment isn't covered under the force majeure clause. Who knew? Then there's the industry exile. Labels are ghosting him harder than a Tinder date after you admit you still live with your mom. Spotify quietly slashed him from playlists. Even his YouTube channel got demonetized because apparently advertiser friendly. A body in a Tesla don't mix. The kid, who once bragged about 33 million monthly listeners, now can't even get verified on Threads. And while all this is happening, the government is circling like vultures. Rumors of FBI probes, LAPD leaks, even whispers that Interpol is sniffing around because allegedly, some of those mystery payments trace back to accounts overseas. Imagine explaining that in court. Your Honor, I swear the $50,000 wasn't for Hitman. It was for consulting fees on my tour lighting setup. Sure, buddy, we believe you. Meanwhile, fans are burning merch on TikTok live streams like it's some kind of Gen Z book burning. Hoodies, posters, vinyl all going up in flames to the soundtrack of romantic homicide. One girl even buried her signed album in her backyard, calling it the funeral David never deserved. That clip alone got to 0.7 million views, because nothing says justice like roasting a $40 hoodie you bought last year. But the real punishment? It's not jail time. Not yet anyway. It's irrelevance. The slow, suffocating fade from cultural relevance. The same world that crowned him a sad boy superstar now mocks him as a cautionary meme. Headlines that once praised his raw vulnerability now sneer with lines like "from playlist to prison lists." Even memes are harsher than the prosecutors. One viral edit shows David singing "Here With Me" while a judge slams down a gavel. Brutal. So, is this truly the end? Will D4vd ever step on stage again, or is his next performance happening in front of a jury box? Nobody knows. But one thing is certain. The punishment has already begun, and it's being served on every phone screen across the planet. And as fans keep saying on Twitter X, goodbye, David. Not with love, not with tears, just goodbye forever. So here's the question. Folks, is D4 the victim of a witch hunt? Or the architect of his own destruction? Was this all just dark artistry taken too far? Or are we witnessing the soundtrack to a real-life horror story? Either way, one thing's clear: his punishment isn't coming from judges or cops. It's coming from you, the audience. Now I want to hear your take. Drop your wildest theories in the comments. Was it guilt, conspiracy, or karma? Smash that like button, subscribe for more unfiltered truth bombs, and stay tuned because this saga is just getting started.